Hi, Lisa Pinkham here. And in journey groups, we have been studying in Unit 5, Lesson 3, the topic of the Sark. And I wanted to share a few more resources because learning about the Sark has really changed my life. So I wrote about it in my book, Real Talk with God, How to Get Your Head Out of the Ditch of Despair. And in it, I extensively quote, living from the heart Jesus gave you. So I'm going to read a little bit from the question and response chapter of my book. Question: did you make shifts in beliefs and mindsets that made it easier to talk and listen to God? Answer: absolutely. Transformation requires mindset shifts. This is my first one. I am in a lifelong process of seeing myself and others through God's perspective. The following quotes were complete game changers for me in understanding the real problem with me and the human race. This pertains to Adam and Eve's disobedience to God's one rule, not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The rest of this story can be found in the Bible book of Genesis, chapters 2 and 3. I hope I will always embrace these truths and that they will prevent me from a self-sufficient misuse of power and knowledge. Here are a few excerpts from chapter 5 of Living from the Heart Jesus Gave You. Quote, when Adam and Eve set their hearts to listen to the serpent and let him direct their choices, they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That moment, they gained for us flawed discernment. Now we all have this human birth defect, which Christians are used to thinking of as our flesh. Christians are used to thinking that the flesh, or sark, makes us do bad things. Actually, the sark's most harmful effect is that it makes us think we are doing something right and good when we are actually doing or thinking the wrong thing. Oh, this happens each time we figure things out on our own instead of following God's direction. Becoming a Christian and receiving the Holy Spirit does not take away the problem. Our wounds and the slanted teachings of our well-intentioned mentors add to the confusion. Trying to figure out if something or someone is good always plunges us into error. We are always wrong because we do not see all that God sees. In fact, it is only with long training that the most mature can even begin to sense what God thinks is good and evil. Referring to Hebrews chapter 5, verse 14. Typically, the harder we try to correct things and do things right, the harder we use the sark, the farther we get from listening to our heart. We all have this birth defect. The fight we have between this birth defect and the heart Jesus gave us never comes to an end during our lifetime. Number 2 on my top 2 mindset shifts, I will never get it right. Therefore, I must refuse to use cruise control on this road trip of life. Getting it right is no longer one of my goals. Every time I start analyzing, rationalizing, and strategizing a way to do right and be right, I repeatedly tell myself, I am right with God because of Jesus. It is only and always because of Jesus. This is what matters most. My top priority is to stay intimate with Jesus and to see what Jesus sees. Perhaps my heartfelt interaction with the book of Romans has had the biggest impact on shifting my attitude about being right with God.